tell you that one in every one Residence Life staff member wonders what they're doing in their role.
This means that every single one of you sitting in your seats right now should be asking yourself, what am I doing?
Well, what up, homie?
My name is Cashin the Kringleberry.
And my name is Erica Berica.
And welcome to
What Are We Doing?
We're all the way here from York University
Holla!
to talk to you about
Your role.
my roles,
Our roles.
everybody's roles.
Whoa, where are you going?
Erica, it seems like we have an outlier in the audience. He thinks he knows what he's doing.
But
that's impossible.
Buddy, sit your ass
You
down.
think you don't want to hear about it?
But you do.
So sit down and buckle up, my friend, because we're about to begin. Wait, so Erica, what are we doing?
Well, we're just talking.
But what are we talking about?
Talking about the meaning of life. Residence life.
God, that sounds deep.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about duty rounds,
Bulletin board.
team meetings,
Programming.
conflict mediation,
One-on-one.
and emergency situations.
This is what we do as Residence Life staff.
No, Erica, this is not what we do.
Yeah, this is what we do.
What if I were to tell each and every single one of you that this is not what we're doing in our roles?
Your ass would be like, what am I doing?
I have
What
no
does it
idea
even
what
mean?
this
Residence
means.
life is so confused.
I have no idea what to do in
What
my
am I
roles. Do I
doing?
just sleep and
Let's
just
redefine our roles. Let's start with
Ring, ring, ring.
Dawn on duty, Erica speaking.
It's time for your duty rounds.
Fourth floor washer.
Check.
No open alcohol.
Check.
And no noises over 30 decibels.
Check. Does Dawn Erica think she did a great job?
Check.
No!
That is
incorrect.
We want you to see that being on duty is more than just checking to see if toilets need flushing.
Or if there's any, or if, to see if there are any drink stains in the carpet.
Or to see how thin the walls are.
So what are we doing?
We're knocking on doors to check in with students.
We are promoting a sense of safety and security in the building.
We are acting as an emergency resource.
And we are documenting all activities that are occurring for future reference.
So see that we're not just walking around the building.
I'm talking about ring, ring, ring.
Cutie on duty, Erica speaking.
It's time for your duty rounds.
Okay. No loud noises, but I can go say hi anyway. Knock, knock, knock.
Oh my goodness gracious me, Dawn on duty, am I in trouble?
No, I just wanted to say hi.
Wow, it feels so nice to be loved and cared for. Shh. Wait, Dawn on duty, before you go. My friend is unconscious and I don't know what to do.
I'm so glad you said something. I'm first aid trained.
Act as a resource. Don't just assume that they know what you can do.
Tell them you're a superhero.
So pull out that badge
Flash that ID.
and sing.
Move,
resident,
get out the way.
Get out the way, resident, get out the way. Wait, Erica, isn't it that time of the month again?
But I'm not prepared.
But you know this happens every single month, right?
I know, but the flow of stress is so heavy. And it's exhausting. But this time of the month, it just makes me go a little wild.
Like, when it happens to me, I write down on my calendar, I know exactly when it's coming, like by the hour.
So do I. But all of a sudden, boom, the day's here, and I'm not prepared.
You know what? It's fine actually, because I can prepare it. I can prepare it actually. Here, I have a set of markers.
Okay.
Here's
Come on.
here's some glue stick, here's
Yep,
a stapler.
yep.
Oh, here's some gel even.
Oh, good,
Yeah,
thanks.
here. We're talking about bulletin boards. But I'm not talking about 1 staple, 2 staple, 3 staple, 4.
Or is that font big enough?
Or do you think this paper is straight enough?
But it's cute!
And I think this picture will make them laugh.
So
what are we doing?
We're providing support systems for students.
We are promoting support systems on campus.
And we're keeping them aware about relevant issues.
So next time someone comes up to you and is all like, oh my god, Erica, please, like, I don't want to do my
You
bulletin
gotta be
board."
like, shh! It's not about the bulletin board.
It's about communicating with your residents when you're not even there.
It's about making a difference.
But those are just 2 examples
Of thousands!
that we do in our role as Residence Life staff members.
But we are out of time for today.
And we must go.
So we want to leave you with one question.
One question.
That we want to leave with you today.
In your minds right now, this very second, one question.
That one question we're leaving with you now.
And that is,
What are we doing?
Wow, oh my god, that was fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh my,
Yeah.
Give it up one more time for our college.
important and
Like, we couldn't have done what they did.
oh my god, definitely not. Like, I don't even have those skills at all.
No. So let's just hand out these,
Okay,
and then
yeah.
we can take over.
I guess so. Like, they ran out of time. They have to
Yeah.
go back to that place where they're from. So,
Yeah, it's far, I think.
yeah, it's very far. Can't even follow that performance. Maybe I can understand.
Oh, I think we got the wrong one. So before Kashif and I take over, I just want to check in and see how we're all doing. It's mid-November, halfway through the year. Things are starting to pile up. Staff work, school work, personal things. It's just the list never finishes. Like, how many of you always feel motivated to do your bulletin board? Or do your rounds because you just think there's so many other things you have to do? When was the last time you hung out with your friends? Or your family? Or what about that hobby you once used to do, but you don't anymore because you don't have time? I bet some of you probably even Netflix and chill. But those days are long gone. Some of you realize it's hard to be a residence life staff. And maybe the thought even crosses your mind that sometimes it can suck.
But how many of you have felt great for helping someone else?
Yes!
And how many of you feel like you made an impact in your
Oh,
community?
me!
Put your right hand up if you feel you made a difference in someone else's life.
Yes.
And put your other hand up if you feel you changed your community.
Yes!
Now put them together, give yourself a high five,
Wow!
and cheer. Like,
Yes!
yeah, I'm awesome.
Awesome!
I'm great.
Woo!
And that is why we're here today.
We want you to feel awesome in your role all the time. And we're going to do that today by answering the question, what are we doing?
So these are the learning outcomes for our presentation today. At first, we want residence life staff members to reflect on their roles and responsibilities. And we begun that process when we asked you to fill out your self-reflection sheets. Next, we want to redefine the duties that are assigned to us, and we'll go through a model on how to do that. Thirdly, we're going to apply the learned concepts to real-life settings like job interviews. And lastly, we're going to identify strengths in our role.
So to answer the question, what are we doing, we're going to introduce the concept of reframing. So what is reframing? Well, reframing is when we change the language we use to talk about our experiences.
And how do we do it? By giving meaning to the tasks that are assigned to us in our roles. Now, we've identified two important concepts or benefits when we reframe our roles, and those are personal and professional benefits.
So when we talk about personal benefits, we have two areas that really, really benefit from reframing. The first is motivation. When we're asked to do a task, and it's something that's repetitive or maybe seems insignificant, our motivation to do it is like way down here. When we're asked to do a duty round, and we think, well, I just have to walk around the building, what does it matter if I do it or don't do it? Well, if we can reframe the task of doing a duty round to include something meaningful, all of a sudden our willingness to do it is increased, right? When we can see that by doing duty rounds, we're promoting a sense of safety and security, and we're acting as a resource, now all of a sudden we're jumping out of bed, running around the building, knocking on doors. But secondly, we've also identified that when you can reframe a task, your ability to think more flexibly increases. So cognitive flexibility is your ability to think outside of the box. Here is when you're asked to do the same task again and again and again, and instead of saying, I'm going to complete that task by doing the same 3 steps, you can say, I can also complete this task using this method, or that method, or trying something new. As long as it's satisfying the task and the expectation, your ability to think of different methods to complete it means that you can think more flexibly. Can anyone give me an example of a task that this would be applicable to? Yes,
Documentation.
can you explain?
Documenting your duty rounds. If say nothing happens and you're just like, nothing happened.
Yeah.
Seems redundant.
Yeah, did really nothing happen? Right? I'm sure something happened. I'm sure your managers would like to hear about the few things that did happen instead of no emergency situations. They'd like to know, what the building looked like, or if you picked up garbage because you care about keeping things clean, or, you wrote something nice on someone's whiteboard. So it's a great example. Another one that we thought of also was programming. Every single month, or maybe for some of you it might be more frequent, we're asked to complete events for our floors or houses. If every single month you ran the same TV night or the same pizza and games night, it's not very creative. Sure, you're completing the task expected of you, but you're not really doing anything meaningful on a month-to-month basis. So when you think flexibly, you're able to see, if I take my students off campus, I can satisfy my task of completing an event while at the same time doing it through a different method.
And the second category, like I mentioned, are the professional benefits. And in that, we see two concepts, which is skill versatility and verbalizing your experiences. Now, skill versatility is applying your learned behaviors now, or learned skills now in residence life, to future settings and potentially even your career. So can anyone think of a skill that they might have learned in residence life that might apply to the future? Yeah.
Working with other people and working in teams.
Totally, definitely. Yeah.
Scheduling management time.
Yeah, definitely. You want to take on a managerial role or something like that?
Adapting to emergency situations.
Exactly. Right? It's a big fact. And secondly, verbalizing your experiences. So this is very simply stated, talking about your experiences in a meaningful way. So like our colleagues mentioned earlier, if you want to talk about what you do in duty rounds, you don't want to say, yeah, like I wake up a couple times and I walk around the building. You want to say, yeah, I'm fostering a community where people can communicate with each other, build friendships, and things like that.
So how do we reframe?
So we've developed the role work framing model, which is outlined here. And so for the first step, we need to understand that our role is composed of many different tasks. And in order to reframe our role, we need to give those tasks meaning. And how do we do that? With this. So you need to ask yourself the following questions. What is the active component? What is the impact? What is the purpose? And what is the meaning? Now the active component is the physical aspect. Is this something you have to build or create, or is it something you have to verbally say to someone or move around for? What is the impact is the effect. So does it affect the students, or does it affect your community? How does it affect them? What is the purpose is why. Why does this task even exist in the first place? Why are we here? And lastly, what is the meaning? Now, the meaning statement is kind of a summary of the previous three things altogether.
So the reason we have the active component first is because when we describe our tasks in terms of the physical requirements, it's not very reflective of what the task is that we're actually doing. But writing the active component first and building on the task later on, we can see that these tasks are much more comprehensive than is reflected by just answering the physical requirements. So as we work through the model and as we continue talking about it, keep in mind that your experiences, your level of how many years you've been on a staff team, the institution you're from, might lead to you identifying different answers for these questions, but that's okay because they're not rigid. These questions are meant to help you based on how you identify the task. To put it in an example, our colleagues talked about duty rounds and bulletin boards. So we have used duty rounds and worked it through the model so that you can get an idea of what it looks like to answer these questions. So first we have the active component. Now, when we're doing duty rounds or social rounds, however you call this task, the physical requirement of you is to walk around the building multiple times each night. But we can't stop there, because if we stop there, then we neglect the reasons why we do it. So that's why we answered the question, what is the impact? What effect does the duty round have in our community? Well, it enables us to be a visible resource. Next, what is the purpose? Why do we do it? Well, it's to be an on-call emergency response team. And lastly, how do we summarize these 3 questions into the meeting? Well, Kashif and I say that doing duty rounds means you are promoting a sense of safety and security for your residents. Are there any questions about how we arrived at these statements or clarification with the model?
Just keep in mind that this is not a one definition fits all kind of model. Everyone will have different statements for each, and actually we're going to practice that right now.